Many men chase, beg, and plead, only to be left feeling powerless. Why? Because they engage in battles of ego, where emotions cloud judgment and self-worth is dictated by someone else's validation. But a Stoic man, he moves differently. He does not seek to break a woman's ego through manipulation, but by becoming so high value that her ego naturally crumbles before him. This is not about playing games. This is about mastering yourself. If you want to break her ego and become a true high-value man, pay close attention. Because today, we will reveal 10 powerful Stoic rules that will shift the dynamic forever. Number 1. Control your emotions, the unshakable mind. In a world where emotions run high and reactions dictate outcomes, a man who masters his emotions holds immense power. Controlling your emotions is not about suppressing them, but about understanding, managing, and directing them with precision. A high-value man is not swayed by the winds of anger, frustration, or insecurity. Instead, he stands firm, like a mountain untouched by the storm. This is the essence of the unshakable mind, a mind that does not crumble under pressure, a mind that refuses to be manipulated by fleeting emotions. Imagine this: a woman tests you, challenges your patience, or tries to push your buttons. A man who lacks control over his emotions will react impulsively, raising his voice, defending himself aggressively, or seeking validation through unnecessary arguments. But the man who has mastered his emotions, he remains calm, composed, and unaffected. This isn't indifference, it's control. He understands that emotional outbursts give power to others. The moment you react emotionally, you hand over control, and a high-value man never allows anyone to control him. Stoicism teaches us that external events are beyond our control, but our responses are entirely within our power. If a woman disrespects you, criticizes you, or ignores you, your first instinct might be to react with frustration, anger, or desperation. But what if, instead, you took a deep breath, analyzed the situation, and responded with logic rather than emotion? Suddenly, you shift the dynamic. You are no longer playing her game, you are playing your own. This ability to remain composed makes you not only more respected, but also more attractive. Women are drawn to men who remain centered, men who are not easily rattled. It signals strength, maturity, and emotional intelligence, qualities that separate boys from men. To cultivate the unshakable mind, start by observing your emotional triggers. What situations make you feel angry, insecure, or frustrated? Instead of reacting, take a step back and ask yourself, is this worth my energy? Does this serve my higher purpose? 9 times out of 10, you'll realize that emotional reactions only drain your power. By choosing rationality over impulsivity, you immediately gain control over any interaction. One of the most powerful techniques for mastering emotions is the pause. Whenever you feel a surge of emotion, pause. Give yourself a moment to breathe, to think, to detach from the situation. This brief moment of stillness prevents emotional outbursts and allows you to respond strategically rather than react impulsively. It puts you in a position of power. While others are controlled by their emotions, you remain in control of yourself. Women, whether consciously or subconsciously, test men. They test to see if a man is truly confident or if he crumbles under pressure. If a woman senses that she can easily provoke you, she loses respect for you. On the other hand, if she realizes that no amount of emotional baiting can shake you, she sees you as a leader, a man in full control of his reality. This is the power of emotional mastery. High-value men don't chase approval. They don't seek validation through reactions. They know that their strength lies in their ability to remain unshaken, no matter the circumstance. The moment you learn to control your emotions, you become untouchable. You stop being manipulated. You stop allowing others to dictate your mental state. You become the kind of man who commands respect effortlessly. Emotional control is the foundation of personal power. It's the difference between being controlled by life and controlling your life. And when you master this, not only do you break her ego, but you also become a man who stands above the rest, unmoved, unwavering, and undeniably high value. Number 2, master the art of walking away. There is an undeniable power in walking away, a power that many men fail to recognize. The ability to leave, to detach, to remove yourself from situations that no longer serve you, that is where true strength lies. A high-value man, rooted in the wisdom of Stoicism, understands that walking away is not about arrogance or playing games. It is about self-respect, self-worth, and unwavering control over one's own life. The man who cannot walk away is a man who is enslaved by his emotions, by the fear of loss, by the validation he desperately seeks from a woman who may not even respect him. Women can sense this desperation, this neediness, and it repels them. The moment a woman realizes that a man is afraid to lose her, she holds all the power. And when she holds the power, respect fades, attraction diminishes, and he becomes just another option rather than a priority. But when a man masters the art of walking away, everything changes. He is no longer operating from a place of scarcity, but from abundance. He understands that he is not defined by any single relationship, any single woman, or any single situation. He is defined by his principles, his boundaries, and his purpose. When a woman tests him, when she pushes the limits, when she disrespects him, he does not beg, plead, or argue. He simply removes himself. And in that removal, he sends the most powerful message: I do not need you. I choose you, but I do not need you. Walking away is not an act of weakness. It is the ultimate demonstration of strength. It is the silent response that speaks louder than any words ever could. It is the firm stance that communicates confidence without the need for validation. It is the embodiment of a man who knows his worth and refuses to settle for anything less than what aligns with his values. The truth is, women respect men who respect themselves. A man who is willing to walk away is a man who understands his intrinsic value. He does not chase. He does not beg for love, for attention, for appreciation. He moves with purpose, and if someone cannot meet him at his level, he has the courage to leave without hesitation. And paradoxically, it is this very ability to walk away that often makes women desire him more. They sense his independence, his self-assurance, his lack of neediness, and it triggers something deep within them, an attraction to a man who cannot be controlled, a man who stands firm in his own power. But walking away is not just about relationships. It is a principle that applies to all areas of life. It means walking away from toxic friendships that drain your energy. It means leaving behind jobs that do not value your contributions. It means stepping away from arguments that lead nowhere, from situations that compromise your dignity, from anything that disrupts your inner peace. The Stoics understood this well. Detachment is freedom. The more you cling, the more you suffer. But when you master the art of walking away, you reclaim your power. This is not about manipulation, nor is it about using walking away as a tactic to get a reaction. It is about embodying the mindset of a man who refuses to compromise his self-respect. It is about being at peace with yourself to the extent that you do not fear loss, because you know that what is truly meant for you will never require you to beg for it. So when you find yourself in a situation where you are being disrespected, undervalued, or emotionally manipulated, ask yourself, am I staying because I genuinely want to? or because I'm afraid to leave. If it is fear that holds you, then it is time to walk away. Because the man who can walk away without hesitation is the man who is truly free. And freedom, above all else, is what makes a man powerful. Number 3. Detach from the outcome. A high-value man does not chase validation, nor does he allow his self-worth to be dictated by external results. Detachment from the outcome is not about being indifferent or careless. It is about mastering your emotions, controlling your mind, and maintaining your inner peace regardless of what happens. Too many men tie their confidence to the reaction of a woman, the approval of others, or the success of their efforts. But when you do this, you hand over control of your power. A Stoic man understands that he is only responsible for his actions, never for the outcome. Think about it. When you desperately seek a certain reaction from her, whether it's admiration, love, or respect, you become needy. And neediness is the biggest killer of attraction. Women are naturally drawn to strength, mystery, and confidence. But if you act in a way that shows you're emotionally dependent on her response, you expose your weakness. She will sense it. She will test it. And if you fail, you lower your value in her eyes. This is why you must train yourself to act with intention, but remain emotionally unshaken, no matter what happens. When you detach from the outcome, you become untouchable. If she ignores your text, it doesn't matter. If she plays games, you don't react. If she suddenly pulls away, you continue living your life as if nothing happened, because in truth, nothing did. A Stoic man operates from an abundance mindset. He knows that no single person, no single situation defines his worth. He knows that life is unpredictable, that people change, and that emotions are fleeting. Instead of trying to control things outside of his reach, he focuses on what he can control: his thoughts, his actions, and his standards. Detachment doesn't mean you don't care. It means you refuse to be emotionally enslaved by the uncertainty of life. It means you approach situations with a calm, logical mind, instead of an anxious, reactive one. The moment you stop obsessing over the result, whether she likes you, whether she stays, whether she validates you, is the moment you step into true masculine power. Ironically, when you stop caring so much about how things turn out, you actually become more attractive. Why? Because a man who is not desperate for a particular outcome radiates confidence. He shows that he is whole on his own, that he is complete with or without her. Women can feel when a man is emotionally needy. They can sense when he is trying too hard, when he is afraid of losing them. This makes them lose respect. But when a man has the courage to walk away, when he is strong enough to let go, he earns their admiration. And more often than not, the same woman who was testing you, playing games with you, or pulling away from you, suddenly becomes more interested, because you have shown that you are different. You have proven that you are not like the rest, that you are not controlled by fleeting emotions. Detachment from the outcome is one of the highest forms of self-mastery. It is the mindset of kings, warriors, and great leaders. The weak man panics when things don't go his way. The strong man remains centered. The weak man begs for attention. The strong man commands respect through his presence alone. The weak man fears rejection. The strong man embraces it as part of life. To be truly high value, you must let go of your fear of loss. You must accept that no matter how much effort you put in, some things are simply not in your control. And that is okay. Because the man who controls himself, who remains emotionally unshaken, will always have the upper hand. So the next time you find yourself overanalyzing her texts, stressing about whether she likes you, or feeling frustrated by her mixed signals, stop. Take a step back. Remind yourself that you are the prize. Remind yourself that your value is not dictated by one woman, one situation, or one outcome. Move with purpose, but never with desperation. act with confidence, but never with expectation. And most importantly, trust in yourself. Because when you master the art of detachment, you don't just break her ego, you become the kind of man who is truly unstoppable. Number 4. Be mysterious. Less is more. There is an undeniable power in mystery, a quiet strength that separates high-value men from the rest. In a world where oversharing has become the norm, where people broadcast their every move, thought, and feeling, the man who remains an enigma instantly commands attention. He becomes intriguing, someone worth knowing, yet just out of reach. This is the essence of mystery, the art of revealing little while making people crave more. A man who understands this rule never lays all his cards on the table. He speaks with purpose, acts with intent, and never chases validation through unnecessary disclosures. A woman cannot build an ego against what she does not fully understand. When she cannot predict your next move, when she is left wondering what you think or feel, she loses the upper hand. And in that uncertainty, her ego weakens, her walls lower, and she becomes drawn to you in ways she cannot explain. Being mysterious does not mean being distant, rude, or cold. It is not about playing childish games or being emotionally unavailable. It is about cultivating depth, mastering self-control, and understanding that true power lies in restraint. A man who speaks only when necessary, who does not rush to fill silences with meaningless chatter, creates an aura of intrigue. His presence alone sparks curiosity. He listens more than he speaks, not because he has nothing to say, but because he values his words. Every sentence he utters carries weight, meaning, and intention. He does not seek validation through constant storytelling or bragging. Instead, he lets his actions, his demeanor, and his silent confidence speak for him. In relationships, a woman may initially test a man's mystery. She may try to pry, to dig deeper, to uncover everything about him. But the moment she realizes that she cannot fully decode him, that there is always something more to discover, she becomes hooked. The chase becomes thrilling, the uncertainty addictive. A man who does not overshare his emotions, who does not reveal his full hand at the first sign of interest, forces her to work for his attention. This is not about manipulation. It is about maintaining an element of intrigue that keeps the dynamic alive. The moment you become too predictable, too available, too easy to figure out, the excitement fades. She feels in control, her ego inflates, and the balance shifts. A high-value man understands that leaving things unsaid is sometimes more powerful than speaking. He does not feel the need to justify himself or explain every action. When he walks into a room, he does so with quiet confidence, not arrogance. His body language speaks volumes, his steady gaze, his composed demeanor, the way he carries himself with an effortless yet undeniable presence. He is aware that mystery is not just about words, it is about the energy he projects. Women, by nature, are drawn to men who present a challenge, who are not easily won over, who do not lay their emotions bare at the first opportunity. The key to being mysterious is balance. Too much detachment, and you come across as uninterested or emotionally unavailable. Too much openness, and you become predictable and easily categorized. The perfect middle ground is where you keep her guessing, where she is never quite sure if she has fully figured you out. A man who cultivates this skill naturally stands out in a world where most people are desperate to be understood and validated. He remains in control of his emotions, revealing only what he chooses to reveal. He understands that mystery is not just about withholding information. It is about selectively revealing just enough to keep her intrigued while never fully exposing himself. This is why the phrase, "less is more," holds so much weight. The more you talk, the more you explain, the more you justify, the less powerful your words become. But when you say just enough, when you allow silence to hold space, when you let her wonder rather than know, you create an emotional tension that she cannot ignore. It is this tension that keeps her ego in check. It forces her to engage with you on a deeper level, to think about you when you are not around, to analyze every interaction, every text, every glance. And in that space of uncertainty, she becomes invested. A high-value man does not need to prove himself to anyone. He does not seek approval, nor does he give away his power through endless explanations. He knows that true strength lies in presence, in restraint, in the quiet confidence of a man who has nothing to prove. When a woman cannot fully read you, when she feels she is only scratching the surface of who you are, her mind becomes occupied with thoughts of you. She begins to crave your attention, your validation, your presence, not because you are withholding it, but because you are giving it in a way that leaves her wanting more. This is the essence of being mysterious. It is not about playing games or pretending to be someone you are not. It is about mastering the art of controlled revelation, about understanding that sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is simply be. Number 5. Stop seeking her approval. When you constantly seek approval from others, especially from a woman you're attracted to, you're giving away your power. You start to let her dictate how you feel about yourself. This is where the ego trap lies. The moment you seek validation, you're lowering your own sense of self-worth. If you want to become a high-value man, you must break free from the chains of external validation, and this means learning to stop seeking her approval. Seeking approval is a subtle form of dependency. Every time you look to her for signs of acceptance, you're subconsciously telling yourself that your happiness is tied to her perception of you. This dynamic creates an imbalance in the relationship, where you're no longer the strong, self-assured man you should be. Instead, you become a reflection of what you think she wants you to be. High-value men, on the other hand, are not swayed by the opinions of others. They've mastered the art of self-approval. They are confident in who they are, regardless of external opinions. In the context of a relationship, this doesn't mean being arrogant or dismissive of her needs or feelings. It means you should have an unwavering sense of self that is not contingent upon her reactions. A high-value man values his own judgment more than anyone else's. He knows his worth without needing to be constantly reassured by someone else. When you stop seeking her approval, you give yourself the space to be authentically you, without pretense or compromise. What happens when you stop seeking approval is that you start to operate from a place of self-respect. You no longer need to perform or change your behavior to fit a mold that you think she will accept. Instead, you remain true to your values, your goals, and your purpose. When a man is not desperate for approval, he becomes more attractive because he radiates confidence and self-assuredness. Women are drawn to men who have a sense of direction and are not afraid to walk their own path. This confidence does not come from boasting or being reckless, but from knowing that your worth does not fluctuate based on someone else's opinion. In the long run, seeking approval compromises your integrity and self-respect. It can lead to a relationship where you're constantly second-guessing yourself, wondering if you're doing the right thing to win her favor. But by removing the need for her approval, you shift the dynamic. You're no longer caught in the trap of trying to please her. Instead, you focus on becoming the best version of yourself. When you do this, you create a stronger foundation for any relationship, built on mutual respect and understanding, rather than approval-seeking behavior. The more you focus on your own growth and development, the more you attract others who appreciate you for who you truly are. The truth is, you will never feel truly free in any relationship until you stop seeking validation from the other person. You're not a puppet waiting for her to pull the strings. Instead, you're a man of substance who knows his own worth and is comfortable in his own skin. When you stop seeking her approval, you're no longer at the mercy of her judgment. You regain control over your emotions, your actions, and your life. And this is the first step toward becoming a high-value man who leads with authenticity, confidence, and purpose. Number 6, elevate your life. Focus on your mission. One of the most powerful ways to break through the ego of a woman, and indeed elevate your own status as a high-value man, is to focus relentlessly on your mission in life. When you are clear about what you want to achieve, when your actions are aligned with that vision, and when you dedicate yourself to the pursuit of something greater than fleeting pleasures, you naturally create a magnetic aura around you. This kind of man doesn't waste time chasing validation or approval because his energy is already invested in a greater purpose. The truth is, a woman can feel when a man has direction, purpose, and ambition. She can sense it in the way he carries himself, the way he speaks, and most importantly, in the way he moves through the world. A man who is on a mission has a sense of peace and confidence about him that no external validation can provide. The absence of desperation for attention makes him infinitely more attractive. When you're not seeking approval or constantly catering to her ego, you're showing her that you're strong, capable, and driven. That will always command respect, and it will break down her defensive walls. Stoicism teaches us that the world around us is often uncontrollable, but the way we respond to it is entirely up to us. The only thing that is truly in our power is our own mindset and our own actions. By focusing on your mission, you are not only breaking free from the cycle of ego-driven desires, but you're also creating a life of meaningful pursuit. This pursuit gives you strength and keeps you centered, no matter how much external noise there is. When you're dedicated to a cause greater than yourself, whether it's a career, a passion, or even the way you contribute to the world, you stop becoming a follower of fleeting desires. Instead, you start leading by example. Moreover, this focus on your mission serves as an invisible force that naturally elevates your value. The more you pour yourself into something meaningful, the less time you have for distractions or toxic relationships that feed off of your energy. A high-value man doesn't waste time chasing women to feel validated. He's already validated by his purpose, and that energy is what naturally attracts people, especially women. When you focus on your mission, you develop a resilience that is untouchable. Life's challenges won't knock you off course because you have a deeper sense of direction that anchors you. This doesn't mean you should neglect your relationships or personal growth in the pursuit of success. In fact, your mission can often become a blueprint for how you approach your personal life. You begin to make decisions based on what aligns with your greater purpose rather than out of emotional impulse or neediness. Your mission helps you filter out what truly matters, allowing you to invest your energy in people and situations that enhance your growth rather than drain it. In a relationship, when you are focused on something meaningful, your partner will respect you more because she sees you as someone who is truly living with intention. A high-value man doesn't just talk about his dreams, he works tirelessly to bring them to life. Your dedication to your mission not only transforms you, but it changes the dynamic of your relationship. Instead of seeking her approval, you lead the relationship by example, showing her that your life is about growth, evolution, and self-mastery. This approach will naturally break her ego because it demonstrates your unwavering commitment to your purpose, not to her or anyone else's expectations. The final piece of the puzzle is that this mission doesn't have to be grand in the conventional sense. It doesn't need to be about building a billion-dollar company or becoming a global influencer. It's about finding something that makes you come alive, something that brings you fulfillment and challenges you to grow. It might be creating a meaningful work of art, building a business that serves a niche, or even becoming a better version of yourself through personal discipline. The key is that your mission must be something that resonates deeply with you, something that drives you to work each day with purpose and passion. By focusing on your mission, you transcend the petty games of ego and validation. You show up as a man who is already whole, already on his path, and already living a life worth admiring. Your sense of self-worth is rooted in your own achievements and growth, not in someone else's opinion of you. This makes you a high-value man, and it's that energy that will naturally break any ego barrier and create the kind of attraction that isn't built on temporary power struggles, but on respect and genuine connection. Number 7. Set boundaries and enforce them. Setting boundaries in relationships is one of the most powerful ways to protect your emotional energy and maintain respect. It's not just about putting limits on what others can or can't do. It's about creating a space where you assert your needs and values. Boundaries are essential because they communicate to the other person what is acceptable and what isn't, and they show that you respect yourself enough to prioritize your well-being. When you allow someone to overstep these boundaries repeatedly, you're teaching them that their actions have no consequences and that your values are flexible. This diminishes your value in their eyes, and often they may take advantage of your leniency. As a man who values his self-worth, you must not only set clear boundaries, but also enforce them without hesitation. Enforcing boundaries isn't about being rigid or controlling. It's about maintaining a sense of self-respect and mutual understanding. If you allow someone to cross your boundaries once and don't address it, it becomes easier for them to do it again. Over time, this erodes the dynamic of the relationship, leaving you feeling disrespected or emotionally drained. You have to recognize that this is a choice. You are allowing them to define the terms of your relationship by not asserting yourself. A boundary isn't a wall that keeps people away. It's a line that ensures your emotional health is preserved. For instance, if you value your time and you don't want to be constantly interrupted with calls or messages, you should communicate that. Let her know when you need uninterrupted time for work, hobbies, or personal space. This helps her understand your priorities and shows that you're not available at all times. When she sees that you're firm but respectful about this, it increases her attraction to you because you are demonstrating that your time, attention, and energy are valuable. However, it's important to enforce boundaries with empathy and understanding. Stoicism teaches us the importance of controlling our reactions to external events, and this applies to enforcing boundaries too. When you enforce a boundary, you shouldn't do it with anger or frustration. Calmly express your feelings and let the other person know why that boundary is important to you. This not only helps to avoid unnecessary conflict, but also maintains the dignity of both parties. It's about creating a space where both people can thrive without feeling like their needs are being ignored. Enforcing boundaries also means learning to say no without guilt. This is one of the toughest lessons for many men, especially those who fear rejection or disapproval. But the truth is, saying no is often the most respectful thing you can do, for both yourself and the other person. You're showing that you value yourself enough to preserve your time, energy, and emotional resources. It's not about rejecting the other person. It's about maintaining a healthy balance in the relationship where both people can flourish without one party feeling overburdened or neglected. Boundaries should be clear, but they also need to be flexible when the situation calls for it. Life is unpredictable, and relationships require adaptability. However, the core of your values should remain unchanged, and any boundary you set must align with your principles. For example, if you're dealing with someone who constantly disrespects your boundaries, it's important to be firm and take a step back if necessary. This doesn't mean cutting ties immediately, but it does mean that you're showing through your actions that you won't tolerate being treated poorly. By enforcing your boundaries, You're teaching the other person how to treat you, and that's a lesson they will respect. As a high-value man, you understand the importance of self-respect and the strength that comes from honoring your own needs. By setting boundaries and enforcing them, you are putting yourself in control of your life and your relationships. This doesn't make you selfish. It makes you self-aware and capable of creating healthy, balanced connections. When you protect your own well-being, you also create a space where others can feel safe and valued. It's about respect, not only for yourself, but for the people you allow into your life. Through consistent enforcement of boundaries, you build a reputation of strength, integrity, and emotional intelligence, which are the qualities that make a man truly high value. Number 8. Master the art of silence. Silence is not just the absence of sound. It's a powerful tool that can transform the way you interact with the world, and more importantly, with others. In a world where everyone is constantly talking, shouting their opinions, and seeking attention, the ability to remain silent can make you stand out. But it's not about silence in the traditional sense. It's about knowing when to speak, when to stay quiet, and how your silence can speak louder than words. This is one of the most underrated aspects of becoming a high-value man. The art of silence involves control, self-awareness, and an understanding of the impact your words, or lack thereof, can have. When you learn to master the art of silence, you start to cultivate an aura of mystery and depth. People are drawn to those who don't feel the need to constantly fill every moment with conversation. Silence gives off an air of composure and confidence. Think about it. The man who speaks less often, but when he does, his words are meaningful, calculated, and impactful. He commands attention not through noise, but through presence. It's not just about keeping quiet, it's about choosing your words carefully and knowing that sometimes the most powerful response is no response at all. In relationships, silence is a tool that can diffuse tension, command respect, and create space for deeper connection. When she expects you to react, to argue, to over-explain yourself, and you remain composed and silent, you create a psychological shift. It shows that you are not emotionally needy or desperate for validation. You are secure in who you are, and you don't need to be heard in every moment. This can be especially effective in moments of conflict or when emotions are running high. Instead of escalating a situation with words, silence allows you to maintain control and avoid saying something you'll regret. Moreover, silence invites introspection. The ability to be quiet doesn't just mean stopping external noise, it also involves quieting the inner chatter. Stoic philosophy teaches that the wise man knows when to hold his tongue, understanding that not all situations require his input. Too many men think that in order to be valued, they must constantly talk. They believe that their worth is proven by how much they say. But this couldn't be further from the truth. When you choose silence, you demonstrate that you understand the power of restraint. You understand that what you say, and when you say it, can leave an impact that words alone cannot. One of the most profound effects of mastering silence is how it aligns with the principle of self-discipline. It's not always easy to remain silent when emotions are high or when you feel like you have something important to say. But that's where the power lies. Silence is a practice of emotional control. It's about choosing not to speak because you know it's the most calculated move for your overall goals. This emotional restraint makes you appear strong, confident, and capable. You no longer feel the need to react impulsively or seek attention in conversation. Instead, you become a man who speaks only when it truly matters. When you practice silence, you begin to observe things you might have missed before. You start to listen, not just with your ears, but with your mind and soul. You become aware of the subtle cues in conversations, the body language, the things that are left unsaid. This awareness gives you an edge. You understand people better, and that makes you a more powerful communicator, even without saying a word. You also learn how to hold space for others, giving them the opportunity to express themselves fully without the need to constantly interject or fill the silence. Finally, silence allows you to be fully present. In a world full of distractions, the ability to focus, listen, and remain calm is a rare and highly valued trait. When you master the art of silence, you eliminate the noise and focus on the things that truly matter: your actions, your thoughts, and the way you carry yourself. It's a practice that elevates you to a higher level, not just in your relationships with others, but also in the way you perceive and understand yourself. It teaches you to be comfortable in your own skin, without the need to constantly seek approval or validation from the outside world. In essence, mastering the art of silence is about understanding your own power. It's about knowing that you don't need to speak to be heard. Your presence, your actions, and your ability to remain calm and composed in any situation are often more powerful than words. And when you do speak, your words will carry more weight because they come from a place of thoughtfulness and intention. In a world that's constantly speaking, the man who can master the art of silence becomes the man who commands respect and admiration without uttering a single word. Number 9. Become the man. Other women want to break the ego of a woman and show her that you're the kind of man who rises above the ordinary. You need to embody a different kind of energy, the kind of man that other women desire, respect, and admire. The core of this is not to attract attention for the sake of attracting attention, but to evolve into someone who radiates high value without effort. When you become this man, you no longer need to chase, plead, or try to prove your worth. You naturally become someone that any woman would want to be with, not out of need, but out of choice. Being the man other women want doesn't mean playing games or seeking validation through attention. Instead, it's about building inner strength, maturity, and a sense of purpose. Women are naturally drawn to men who are grounded, confident, and comfortable in their own skin. This type of man understands that his worth is inherent, not based on external factors or the approval of others. He is self-sufficient, emotionally intelligent, and demonstrates strength through resilience, not aggression. He doesn't chase fleeting desires, but focuses on long-term goals that align with his values. When a man has a clear vision for his life and pursues it with passion, women can't help but notice. They admire the direction he's heading and the drive he possesses. Becoming the man other women want also means having a magnetic charisma. This comes from being authentic and owning your flaws and strengths. You don't need to fake a persona to impress people. The more genuine you are, the more irresistible you become. A man who knows his worth doesn't settle for mediocrity. He raises the bar. He improves himself constantly, whether it's through his career, his fitness, his intellect, or his emotional maturity. This growth is not for the purpose of impressing anyone, but is a natural result of his desire to become the best version of himself. A woman is attracted to a man who leads, not one who is easily swayed by every external influence. When you're a high-value man, your life is full of purpose and your actions are aligned with your principles. This sense of purpose is what keeps her intrigued. She wants to know how you've built yourself and what drives you to keep pushing forward. You're the type of man who others look up to because you've become the best version of yourself. Another key part of becoming the man other women want is to understand the dynamics of respect in relationships. Women don't just want a man who gives them attention, they want someone who challenges them intellectually, emotionally, and even morally. When you raise the bar for yourself, you raise the bar for everyone around you, including her. A high-value man demands respect, but more importantly, he gives respect in abundance. He knows that a relationship is about mutual growth, not just one person trying to dominate the other. He creates an environment where trust and mutual admiration can flourish, making him the kind of man other women secretly desire because he treats his woman as an equal partner, not as someone to control. A critical factor that attracts women is emotional maturity. A high-value man knows how to deal with his emotions, express himself with clarity, and avoid unnecessary drama. He doesn't let petty conflicts or insecurity cloud his judgment. His calmness in the face of adversity is magnetic. When you control your emotional landscape, you command respect not only from women, but from everyone around you. Women respect a man who doesn't react to every little setback, but instead approaches life with stoic discipline and a calm demeanor. This gives them a sense of stability and security in a world full of uncertainty. Being a man other women want doesn't come from arrogance or superficial traits. It comes from understanding that the real power lies in authenticity, self-sufficiency, and integrity. When you live in alignment with your values, work toward your goals with relentless determination, and treat those around you with respect, you naturally become the type of man that other women gravitate towards. They don't see you as a conquest to win, but as someone who is already on a higher path, someone they aspire to be with, not out of need, but because they genuinely admire who you are. And when that happens, you've mastered the art of becoming the man other women want. Number 10. Never put her on a pedestal. In every relationship, there's a natural inclination to elevate the person you care about, to place them on a pedestal, almost as if they were untouchable or superior. But the truth is, this behavior can be detrimental to both you and the relationship itself. When you put her on a pedestal, you inadvertently set up a dynamic where she becomes the central focus of your world, and you lose the ability to see her as an equal. This might seem like an act of love or admiration, but in reality, it sets a dangerous precedent. By constantly putting her on a pedestal, you run the risk of making her feel overly validated, almost to the point where she starts to see herself as being above you. This imbalance can lead to her losing respect for you, not because of your actions, but because you've allowed yourself to be placed in a lower position. Respect in a relationship thrives when both partners view each other as equals. A healthy relationship doesn't thrive on imbalance, and when you allow her to have all the power, it inevitably weakens the connection you share. The Stoic philosophy teaches us to never surrender our self-worth to someone else's actions, opinions, or presence. By putting someone on a pedestal, you are effectively giving away your own power. Stoics believe in cultivating inner strength and independence, and that means not letting external factors, including a romantic partner, dictate your emotional state or sense of value. If you allow yourself to become too dependent on her approval, affection, or attention, you lose sight of your own purpose, your own drive, and ultimately, your own sense of identity. It's not about treating her poorly or dismissing her worth. It's about ensuring that you maintain your own value and autonomy. A high-value man knows that his value isn't dictated by the people around him, but by his own actions, his principles, and his capacity for self-discipline. He doesn't seek validation from others because he already has that internally. He doesn't lose himself in the need to make someone else feel superior. Instead, he strives to make the relationship one where both partners are growing, evolving, and supporting each other. The moment you stop putting her on a pedestal, you reclaim control over your own emotional state and begin to understand the importance of maintaining your self-respect. The relationship should be a partnership, a journey you both embark on together, not a place where one person is constantly revered while the other is left in a submissive role. By fostering equality, you create a healthier dynamic where both of you contribute to the growth of the relationship. This mindset doesn't just protect your own well-being, it also leads to a deeper and more meaningful connection. When you stop putting her on a pedestal, you're not diminishing her value, but instead, you're treating her like an equal partner. It's this balance that makes the relationship truly strong. As a high-value man, it's essential to treat her with respect and admiration, but without elevating her above you. This ensures that both of you continue to grow in tandem, supporting each other, rather than creating a relationship based on hierarchy or unhealthy dependency. Ultimately, by not placing her on a pedestal, you empower both yourself and the relationship. You don't lose sight of your own identity, and you create space for mutual growth, respect, and love. Remember, you are both unique individuals, and a great relationship is built on two equal partners working toward common goals, rather than one partner being placed higher than the other. Men, remember, you are the prize. You are the value. When you master yourself, when you embrace Stoicism, and when you become a man of presence, power, and purpose, women follow. Do not seek to break her ego through games or manipulation. Instead, seek to elevate yourself. Become the man who is emotionally strong, self-sufficient, and in complete control of his reality. When you do this, her ego will naturally crumble. The moment you stop seeking validation, stop reacting emotionally, and start focusing on your mission, your purpose, and your growth, everything changes. Women will see you differently. They will respect you, desire you, and chase you. So stay strong, stay stoic, stay high value. If you found value in this, like, share, and subscribe for more content that will transform you into the man you were meant to be. See you in the next video.